This podcast is brought to you by Rebecca Cassells of the Rising Dawn series. Do you like violence? Do you like smut? Are you tired of the stereotypical novels of werewolf romance out there and want something a little bit different? Then pick up Sparked Revolution, Book 1 in the Rising Dawn series by Rebecca Cassells. Available on Amazon, in Kindle and paperback.
You too can become a sponsor by heading on over to patreon.com/stories, the true and the fictional. Hello guys and welcome to another episode of Stories, the True and the Fictional. If you haven't picked that up already by now, we're full author, we're full interviews now, we're diving right in. We've had so much interest, so this is the podcast now and we love it, don't we, Ryan?
We definitely do.
Are you still living the dream?
I am still living the dream. In fact, I'm living the dream so much that this is my ethereal form. I'm actually still in bed asleep. But it's very early this morning, and we know Ryan doesn't do early. But I'm happy to do it for the podcast of meeting some great authors.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, guys, check out our sponsors, Rebecca Cassells, Martin Kearns. They have wonderful books out. And my new book on Corrosion has been out for a little while, so grab that. But now, let's get into the interview. Costi Gurgu, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
For those who don't know, who is Costi Gurgu?
Right. So I'm a speculative fiction writer. I'm from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, to be more precise. And I have two short story collections and 4 novels, with the 5th on the way. The 5th is the 3rd book in my series, Corrosion. And for my fiction, I won like 28 awards, 3 of them for my debut novel, Reciparium, and 4 of them for the first book in the Corrosion series called Green Corrosion. The latest book that I will launch in September will be Black Corrosion, the 3rd book in the series.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we have a little bit of tradition here on the podcast where we like to get to know the author before we like to get to know their books. So we do have some fun icebreaker questions. We do encourage selfish answers. You're not here to win over the world that you're currently on top of. So Ryan, do you want to take the first one?
Yeah, sure, no worries. So, okay, Costi. So the first one, picture we all live in a world where there's no war, it's all peaceful, we all get along, there's no cruelty to animals, everything's just happy, perfect. If you could get rid of one thing in the world, what would it be?
All right. So everything is happy, everyone is happy.
Yeah. You don't have to get rid of poverty.
There's no poverty. Everyone lives a joyful life, but obviously, other than war and financial struggles and all that kind of thing, there are still everything else. So, aside from all of the political answers, what would you like to get rid of?
Right. Well, I don't know if it's political, but the first thing that pops into my mind is I would get rid of psychopaths.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
No, that's
I think they are the root of most of the problems we have today.
Yeah.
Even with the happy lives that we're living, the poverty and all the other stuff exists. Yeah. So I think they are the root of all that, and the eventual dictators that rise up, then they're also psychopaths. So and they create problems where there are no problems. So I think that would be my first go-to.
There you go. No, I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that. Okay, let's make something a little more simple. What's on your bucket list?
Right, so many things.
Just pick one. Pick one.
You get to an age where you realize you're still on so many things and you haven't done half of them. But let's say I would go in a safari. I mean, I had this dream since I was little, and it always seemed to me so exotic, so adventurous, so defining. So maybe it was because of what I've read, what movies I've seen, and TV series when I was little, and maybe that's why. But I think that would be, and probably one day I will still do it, but not very close on the horizon.
Yeah.
Not very soon.
So
Nice.
that would that be a like an African safari where you go to Africa and you
Yes.
jump on with I think there's quite a few over there where you can jump on with the local and they'll take you all around and get up nice and close with a lot of the animals.
Yes, something like that. In an African safari,
Excellent.
get very close to them, and yeah.
Yeah, I can agree. That's something on my bucket list too. I think it would be really good to, I watch all the David Attenborough, documentaries and series and everything, but it'd be something different to actually be there in person and actually be able to, be really close to like a lion or elephants or
Yeah,
hippopotamus or whatever that may be.
hear all that noise and smell all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's a different experience, yeah,
Oh,
than what you
definitely.
see.
I think that's a really good one. I don't think we've had that one on at all in the podcast. So I like it when we get different answers. So that's good.
Right.
Okay, question number 3. And this is a judgmental one. And you know what, Jamie? I'm going to take control for a moment. I'm actually going to change the question from now on.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to change the question because I haven't really watched any lately, and I'm finding I think instead of saying what is the greatest sitcom of all time, I'm going to change it to be more broader. I'm going to ask you what is the greatest television show of all time,
Oh, okay.
and if that is not your favorite, like in your opinion, what is the greatest TV show of all time, and if that is not your favorite show, what is your favorite TV show of all time?
Right. Wow, that's difficult. There are so many.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say, because we made it the top television show, how about you give us your top 5?
All right. So I would start with sitcoms. Like I think on the top it's Seinfeld,
Mhm.
Yeah,
because it's so witty and smart, and I think it's
definitely.
timeless till current today. I also love Big Bang Theory
Yeah,
and Friends. Um, but recently, I love the Game of Thrones
yeah,
series, um, and I don't know. I want to say, although it's not popular, but I want to say Lost because it kept me going. It kept me, in the seat, although it
yeah,
didn't finish as it should be, or not should be, because you don't know how, we don't know how it
Yeah.
finished,
yeah,
but it didn't finish as I wanted it to finish. But overall, I think it was a great experience.
yeah. I can definitely agree with Lost, and I think we have this question. Someone asked me, excuse me. Someone asked me on a couple of podcasts ago, um, did I like Lost? Because I don't really like period pieces and stuff like that. And what I did like about Lost is the fact that, they focused on one character per episode in terms of, their flashbacks and learning about their past, and as well as it wasn't just all on the island or all, obviously there were key things that were happening on the island, but
Yeah.
it focused on, one episode could be Jack or Kate or Sawyer, and just showing how they actually got to be on that plane. And I think that's what kept me interested for 6 seasons. But I can agree, I was very, very disappointed with the ending. I was like, really? Come on. Like, you watch a show for that, you invest, and this is back when TV shows had 23 episodes per season. So you're investing a lot of time in watching a show like that, especially if you're binging it. If you weren't like me and watched it week to week, you're investing a lot of time in that. And for them to pick such an easy ending,
Yeah.
I think was a bit of a disappointment. So I can definitely agree there.
And they built a lot during those seasons. They built a lot,
Yeah,
and you expected a lot because of that.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean that they the way that, and spoiler alert for a probably a 15, 20-year-old show, but like the way that they built it up with the others, and then the other, the DARPA company, and then the other people living on the island, I was like, okay, it's getting good. And then the fact that at the end they just were in purgatory and just went to heaven, I'm like, anyway, I was just like, come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree with Lost. Up until that last episode, I was like, I was watching it every single week, and it definitely took a grab of something inside me. So I can definitely agree with that.
Oh, and there's one more. I'm trying to remember the
Yep.
name. It's quite recent. It's science fiction, made after some very thick books. Something with E X. With
Is it
that.
Wheel of Time?
No.
No,
It's
sci-fi,
No?
science fiction.
Oh,
Sci-fi.
sci-fi. Okay,
It
sci-fi.
happens in our solar system.
Expanse.
Expanse. Yes, that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's another good one, very good one. I know it's the sixth one, but
Yeah.
I just remember it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
No,
fine.
that's totally fine. The Expanse. I'm not really, and I apologize if I offend anyone. I'm not a massive sci-fi person. Like I like Star Wars, I like a bit of Star Trek, but my wife is completely sci-fi. Anything sci-fi she'll watch, and she loves The Expanse. So I can definitely. She always begs me to watch it with her, and I'm like, I can't do 6 seasons or 5 seasons of a sci-fi show. I'm really sorry. Like I barely made it through Next Gen,
All
or
right.
like I made it through Next Gen because I love Picard. I love Patrick Stewart. But like there were some shows like when we were watching Star Trek Voyager, I was just on my phone or on my tablet pretty much most of the time, and I was just kind of watching it for the sake of her watching it. But yeah, definitely Expanse it's she one of these days she will crack me and get me to watch it, but
But Ryan,
I just didn't.
the Punish is in it.
Yeah, he is. Thomas Jane's in it.
Thomas Jane.
Because she keeps telling me, you know this guy, because we know him from, she knows him from The Mist, the Stephen King movie, The
Yeah.
Mist.
Mhm.
And yeah, he's a really good actor, but yeah, still not enough to get me across the board. But I'll get there one day.
Cool.
Yeah. No, but it's good. It's a good one.
Yeah. All right, Costi. What is your zombie apocalypse plan?
Right. Like turning into a zombie in a painless way. That feeling.
Just go with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not built for running a lot and wielding a sword and chop off heads,
Yeah.
like. But if I get the chance, then, of course, probably fortify a place and make it sustainable in the long run. But it will be quite a sad time, because that means nobody will read my books and I won't have any reasons to write.
Or
And
you'll have a captive audience. Because you'll be
Captive.
they'll
Yeah.
have to read your
You are
books.
just captive.
You may get less sales, but they'll
Or you could just write a book entirely of the word brains, and it just chapter one, brains, 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 brains. And then the zombies will love it and they'll read it, and you'll be the most successful author in the world.
Yeah. Bestseller.
But I like how a lot of our guests lately, like when we first started asking this question, everyone was coming up with super defensive things,
Yeah.
and lately it's just been, oh, I'm not gonna make it. I'm just gonna spend a couple of days with my family and then just give into it. You know what I mean? And I was like, that's yeah, because you got to be serious. Like
Yeah.
if we're talking 28 days later, zombies that can run and throw themselves through windows and walls to get you. I mean, I'm just gonna pray that I get a couple of good days with the family, and then I'll succumb to it when I succumb to it. But it's just you got to be realistic.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the final question on the icebreakers. So Bill and Ted, do you remember a movie, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventure?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so Bill and Ted show up outside of your house, and they say, "Well, dude, Rufus has asked us to take you for a trip in a time machine phone booth. Where do you go?"
All right. I think they were failing history, and that was one of the motivator. But I'm not failing history, so I won't go back in time. I would actually like to go to the future and be, amazed by the future, or at least see if we have a future.
Yeah.
If we don't, why we don't,
Yeah.
like that's what fascinates me more, like the future than the past.
Because I think we had a conversation with one of our guests a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago, and she said, I think it was they've set their book 500 years in the future. And she said she would only really travel probably 500 years, because if you go 1,000 or 2,000 years into the future, what if you show up and there's nothing there? I mean, that'd just be heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Correct.
No,
But even
I think I'd only go like 200 years, maybe 100 years, 200 years into the future.
yeah, because 500 is a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still huge.
Exactly. We could all be wiped off the planet by then.
Yeah.
Yeah. The planet could be a disaster. Everybody dead, or everybody in space, and the planet abandoned.
Exactly. And then you show up on Earth and you're like, what the hell's going on? At least you've got the time, at least you've got the time machine so you can come back, but still, that's crazy.
Unless you step outside and it's inhabitable
Yeah.
and you die.
Yeah, true. That would happen.
Yeah. And you've killed Bill and Ted at the same time.
Exactly. Two national icons.
Yeah. There you go. Well, that's the icebreaker's done. We believe you've passed, so you can move on to the next section.
Right, thank you.
This podcast is brought to you by Martin Kearns and the Valor of Valhalla series. In the battle between two ancient evils, can one naive young man become the last hope against powerful creatures of legend? Beneath the Veil is the gripping first book in the Valor of Valhalla dark urban fantasy series. If you like reluctant heroes, infernal myths, and bloody epic clashes, then you'll love Martin Kearns' formidable foray into the unknown. So head on over to readkearns.com and grab yourself a copy of Beneath the Veil today.
Tell us how you got into writing. How did it all start for you?
Oh, I was, when I started writing, I was in primary school. I think I was in the 2nd or 3rd grade. And basically it was Star Wars. I wrote a pastiche after Star Wars, like something very Star Wars, nothing original, nothing, like. But my literature teacher encouraged me, so I said, why not? I'll continue with these, dumb things that I was writing at the time. But then I wrote something worth reading in high school. I read them in a writers group, which was with adult writers, some published writers. So not my colleagues, not my friends. And I was praised for one of my short stories, and that encouraged me to actually take it seriously and do it consistently. But it took a few more years to actually get published, to sell something. So I sold my first short story in the first year of university. And the next year I got my first award. So that convinced me that I should be writing and I should focus on it. And obviously I wouldn't be able to live from it, but out of just writing, but still just keep at it. I wrote my first novel, I think, in the 2nd or 3rd year of university. And it was an experiment. I wanted to see if I can write a story that happens in another world, not Earth, with no human characters, and still make it readable. Still make it, still make the readers empathize with what happens there. And I managed to write Reciparium. That was my debut novel. And I sent it to local competition, which at the time I was still in Romania. And it was a competition for unpublished writers with unpublished novels, and I won the competition. So the award being that it will be published. So I was, extremely happy because my first novel and already getting this kind of recognition. And then I talked to the editors, and they told me, you know what, we didn't award it. The jury awarded it. We don't know what to make of it. We haven't read something like this before. We can't market it. We don't know how to market it. We don't know how to sell it. So it will be a pass. So it took me a few more years to actually sell my first novel. And that was, I sold it first in Romania, and then in the States the second time, not as a translation, but as an original, because I had to rewrite it. A straightforward translation didn't work, so I had to rewrite it in English.
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, it took me a few years to actually manage to sell it, because I had the same reaction here from most editors. They didn't know what to make of it. But I've met one that was, brave enough to say, I love it, and I will market it as best as I can. White Cat Publications in Detroit was the publisher. So that's how I got into writing, and how I got my first things published.
So you went down the traditional publishing route?
Yes, initially. Then for my second novel, I just got into a sort of a bad deal with an editor. Like they told me to wait for the decision without submitting to any other publishing house, and I waited for about 4 years. And after 4 years, after 4 years without being able to submit anywhere else, when they still told me that they're undecided, I said, you know what, that's long enough for me. I mean, I have just one life, so I just went indie. So yeah,
you can get things done quicker that way.
yeah.
Because I write, but I don't think I could go traditional because I'm too controlling over my work. I feel like I'm not changing that.
There's that as well. Yeah. There's that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
because I had the back and forth with the designer for Reciparium when he gave me the first copy to read, and I was like going back to him, and you shouldn't put these words here. You should make it on the other page, and you shouldn't have widows and all that stuff. And in the end, I submitted, but I know what you mean by controlling.
Yep. Cool. Well, let's talk about like your Corrosion series. That's your. Is it going to be 3 books, 4 books? Is there a plan for it?
3 books for now. So for the first part of the series is a trilogy, and it may be. I'm thinking of a second trilogy in the Corrosion universe, but with different characters and different worlds. But for this one, basically it started again back in university, when I was approached by National Geographic magazine from Romania, the Romanian edition, to write an ecological short story for them. And I did some research to see exactly what I want to write about. And I discovered this experiment from, I think it was the 80s or something like that, from an Austrian university, where they managed to obtain for about 20 minutes the 4th state of water, the gel state. So they managed to keep it gel in a gel state for about 20 minutes, and to study it in that time, and to notice that it has some different properties and things like that. So I can extrapolate from there. It gave me a lot of material to think about and to come up with ideas. What if indeed the properties are completely different, and on one hand, it sustains life like water in general, but on the other hand, it has this effect on us that it corrodes flesh. So people become corrosives. They're not in control of their of the corrosion of the way they can go in a matter of months or years to just a piece of corroded flesh, or they can live for decades with just the minimal corrosion. They had no control over it. And that would transform the society radically, because it will basically create a new kind of humans, a new kind of people. The mental structure would be different. The way they see the world, the way their needs, their behavior would be different. And that would be in the opposition with the very few that still have control over liquid water, clean water, and they keep their normal form like us. So they are hidden. And this is the story. The green corrosion is the story of an ambassador from a clean water community to the corrosive community society next to them, trying to make a deal, trying to make to trade with them and to establish some sort of diplomatic relations. And I wrote this, it was the short story Corrosion. I wrote it in university for National Geographic. I published it, I sold it. I got like, I don't know, 2 or 3 awards for it. Since then, I resold it about 6 times. And the last time in a Canadian anthology, about 7 years ago, something like that. And one writer, quite big writer in Romania at the time, was saying that basically the first book or the first story in every series is the good one, and all the sequels are bad inherently. That you can't write good sequels. And I said, okay, let's make a bet and try something about that. So I wrote the second story in Corrosion, the Corrosion universe, called Pink Corrosion, after Corrosion, and it proved to be a success. I sold it. I got some awards for it. And he obviously said, well, but that's different. It's a different story. It's not the continuation. Well, it's they're the same characters. Of course, it's a different story. I mean,
Yeah.
You have to come up with something different than in the first one, not just continue exactly the same adventure, because it would be boring. So these are the stories that are the base of my green Corrosion. It's the first one, Corrosion, and then Pink Corrosion is the Pink Corrosion in the series. And I came up with the conclusion for the trilogy, which is Black Corrosion. Which rounds up nicely the whole universe that I created there.
So was the third one done on a bet as well? Or
Sorry?
Was the third book done on a bet as well? Did someone bet you?
Oh, no.
No?
No. Otherwise, it would have been long, like long time ago.
Yeah.
No.
That's cool. It's a very unique universe you've created. Where did you pull your inspirations from, plot wise and character wise and all that?
From my experience in university, so the protagonist is actually a sort of a nerd. He likes to study. He likes to, he likes science. He likes to read. He has a brother who is more adventurous, but the council of the community decides that the brother, who is very athletic and adventurous, should stay behind, and he should be sent into the wild world, mad world. That despite his nature and his own willingness to actually do that, and that's how I got the inspiration for the protagonist. what if we have this nerd that is forced to actually leave the adventure and basically survive. It's for him. It's not a pleasure. It's just a struggle to survive and do something good for his community at the same time. And obviously, the short story was quite short. It was like, I know, 5,000 or 6,000 words. So I didn't have a chance to develop the characters a lot and the whole world. But then the novel gave me the opportunity to do this with him, his brother. There's also a girl involved in the whole thing. With the community back in the cave with the liquid water, the clean water, and the kingdom of the corrosive people that is nearby, and they want to trade with. And basically, it is if you read into all the names and all the locations, it's actually based in Toronto, Canada. The whole thing.
Right, what you know. Right, what
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
I did that with my latest book. It's literally the map is where I Google Earth my hometown, and we're in the mountains. So I just picked key landmarks from the mountains, lakes and rivers, and just wrote my whole story into my backyard.
Yeah, that's the best. If you know something, then you should write about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've seen, like examples of stories written by people in North America, and the characters were in Europe.
Yeah.
And you could read through, that the writer has been there, maybe has been there, maybe has been there as a tourist for like a couple of days, but not more.
Yeah.
And you can feel that. So it's better to write exactly what you know, like the places the people kind of spirit of the the place that yeah.
Cool. Ryan, do you want to ask about the covers? You always love to ask about the
Yeah.
covers.
Yeah, so I'm currently on Amazon now looking at your covers of all your books, especially, the first two books of the Corrosion series. Just the way that they obviously you can tell that they're part of a series, even if you didn't know, that it would if you took off the name of the book, you could still tell the art is very similar, so you could tell it was part of a series. Did you design those covers yourself, or did you contract someone out and are using the same person for all of the books in the trilogy?
So I contracted an illustrator, Luca Olastri from Italy, to actually do the illustration, the painting of that I put on the cover. The design itself, the typography, and all the layout is mine. So it's a team effort, let's say. I work with him. I tell him, like I need space here, and I'll put the title here. So he knows how to manage the illustration so that it allows me to actually work with that.
Awesome.
And I use him as well for the second book and for the third book. So I wanted for them to feel that they have the same, line, the same.
Yeah.
That
You definitely get that feeling from looking at them. I could, as I said, even if I didn't have the titles of the book on them, I could still tell they were part of a series.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So did you get a model for the art? Like, did you show your artist a picture and be like, this is kind of what I want to go for? Or did they have like a little more free range?
No, I just gave him the description from the book. I said,
yep.
In broad lines, this is the character. So now you can make of it what you want. I didn't give him pictures or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave him, freedom of creation. It's just that the description of the city, the kind of the sky, and the characters, and then he went with them. He ran with them.
Because I just love that pink corrosion like that. Those characters on the front are awesome.
Yeah, I love the cover for the pink corrosion more than the green corrosion. At first, I was in love with the green corrosion. I saw the pink corrosion, and I was like, wow, okay, nice. Yeah.
See, sequels can be better. Just saying.
Even the covers.
Even the covers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Cool. I will put that up on the screen. I know you tried to show it before, but
Yes,
it
sorry.
didn't go through. I will put it up on the screen so people will know what we're talking about. Unless they're listening to the audio, in which I say, guys, switch to the YouTube, and you'll see what we're talking about. Cool. So what's next? What's after your corrosion?
Right. So I'm writing now a space opera, an
okay.
adventure, which basically started as a screenplay, as a feature script, and it got an award. It got to be finalist and semi-finalist for a few competitions, but it's hard to actually find a place for. There are like hundreds of thousands of scripts in the world, so or maybe millions, who knows, and it's hard to actually find somebody to get it into a movie. So after a few years, I said that you know what, I'm going to write the book, and now I'm writing the book after that script, and it's the working title is The Red Death, and it's basically about a plague unleashed by the former gods of the galaxy that threatens to wipe out the entire galaxy, humans and aliens alike. And the protagonist and her companions are just, trying to solve the problem, and before it's too late for everybody. So that's in a nutshell what's about.
Sounds like a good movie, but they say 1% of screenplays get turned into movies. 1%. So,
and still it's a lot. 1% is a lot if you.
It's still a lot, yeah. But it's just it's because I wrote a screenplay and it almost got made into a movie. It got into pre-production, and then everything fell apart.
Oh.
It's just so, and then I turned it into a book, and I've had more success that way.
Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe I'll find readership like that. Who knows? Maybe in the future somebody would think of a movie.
A lot of people turn books into movies, so just don't give them too much control.
Yeah.
Or we get nightmares.
Yeah, and
so have you had any? Oh, sorry, keep going.
Sorry, no. I want to say very quick. A good example is with Harry Potter, where she signed that she will, when she signed a contract for the books, she said she wants control over the movies and the merchandise and all that stuff. And got it, and that was her luck, not just in terms of control over the production, which you could see, but also in terms of wealth that she after that. Sorry for
going Ryan.
No, I was just wondering, have you had any interest in relation to, turning the Corrosion series into a movie or a TV show or anything like that?
Not yet. No, nothing. Nobody proposed yet. I'm still waiting, because the thing is that it's doable. I mean, it's we've seen dystopian post-apocalyptic movies with cities that are in ruin and things like that. So it's not something far-fetched. It's doable. It's the corrosive people are. I don't think they're difficult to be created. Like with the corroded skin. But yeah, nothing yet. I still hope to get an offer.
Well, I keep seeing post-apocalyptic stuff popping up on Netflix and Prime and all that, so it's popular. You just need to get the right person to see it.
Exactly. Yeah. So luck, it's a lot of has a
Yes.
lot of, with this industry.
Yeah. Yeah. Just strategically place your book in Hollywood locations and in the most popular doctors' waiting rooms, and where the celebrities go.
Yeah,
Like,
coffee shops and all that stuff.
Yeah. You never know. All right, look, I think we're going to jump into our Patreon now. So for those who aren't in the Patreon, you just want to let our listeners know where they can buy your books and follow you and stay up to date with what you're doing.
Right. Yeah. So I unfortunately I don't have Patreon. It's but my books can be bought from Amazon, from Kobo, from basically any store, physical store or online store around the world. All of them, all books, the traditional published ones and my indie books. My website is costigurgu.com. So it's my name.com.
Yep.
You can order on my website as well. And I'm on social media on a lot of platforms, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, even LinkedIn. So yeah.
Cool. Well, guys, we're going to jump into the Patreon now. So if you want to reach out, thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com, but sign up to our Patreon if you want to hear some fun answers from Costi. All right, so these are off the cuff. We haven't given you these in advance. They're all pretty book related, and they get a little bit harder as we go.
All right.
So am I going to go first, Ryan, or are you going to go first?
Yeah, you can go first this time.
Okay. Simple question. What is your favorite genre to read?
So I think that science fiction and fantasy at the same time, they're both for me at the same level. And when I'm saying science fiction, I don't necessarily mean hard science fiction, just science fiction,
Just the broad term. Yeah. Cool.
So what is the first book that you remember reading?
I remember reading Jules Verne, which was a great writer for me. It basically it gave me a lot to think about and encouraged me to actually write myself. So Jules Verne and H.G. Wells, but Jules Verne first, and then I discovered H.G. Wells. And then by accident, I discovered a novel by Gerard Klein. He's a French writer. Seigneur de la Guerre, I think it was translated into English as Warlord, which is a time travel novel, but it's a different kind of time travel. It's not your classical time travel novel. And I've reread that book several times at different ages. It reads differently, so it's quite a nice experience. And that
I really like it when you're one of the few people that I know or that have admitted that rereads some of the books you read when you're a child over the years at different ages, because I really do agree you get a different perspective on the book and on the storytelling. You might read it when you're 10, and then you might read it when you're 20 or 25, and then later on in life as well. That's what I do. I reread my favorite books every couple of years, just to see if I've grown as a reader, and you find that you can get different perspectives the older and more worldly experienced as you are.
Exactly. Not, also because of your life experience, but also because of what you've other books that you've read in between, and that gave you a different, system to look at
Exactly.
books. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and I love a lot of those authors. Because I went to a secondhand bookshop and picked up a whole lot of H.G. Wells and Jules Verne and stuff like that. And I think it was like 6 months ago I finished reading War of the Worlds for the first time.
All right.
Flippin' loved it. And it's like he was ahead of his time. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was much better than the movie, for sure. Like the movie's good. The movie's good, but But you got to think that was written so
Hun-
long ago.
125 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And I've read it too multiple times, and it's just so well written, and he was just so ahead of his time back then.
Yeah.
So 100% I can agree on that with you for sure.
And his books are still so good today. I mean, after
Yeah.
all this time, they're
Yeah.
still
Timeless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so what's the last book you read? The most recent one?
The most recent one is Medici Legacy by Struckle, something like that. It's about Catherine de Medici, the Queen of France, and her family, her sons, her children, and all the plots and conspiracies and all that happened during her reign. Quite an interesting. I mean, I love history, so that was quite an interesting read. And accidentally, it was at the same time that I've watched The Serpent Queen. It's a series with Catherine de Medici, which is basically the same as the book, but with a different perspective on her. It's clear that the writer of the movie and the writer of the series and the writer of the book don't agree on some things, on a lot of things. So it was interesting to see the differences.
So what is a book that's on your to-read list? You know, we've all got hundreds of books that we buy and that we have to wait to read on. So what's one of the books that's on your to-read list?
Right. I think so. On my to-read list is the one that was written by Ken Reeves and China Miéville.
All right.
I forgot the name now. It's after the Ken Reeves comics, Berserker.
Oh, yeah, but Berserker, yeah. It's that's actually getting made into a Netflix series too soon. So,
Yes.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I've read the comics. They're amazing, absolutely
Yeah.
amazing.
I'm curious about the book because I heard it's good, and I love China Miéville. I mean, I've loved everything
Yeah.
that he's done so far. So I wonder what he's done now. This was
Well,
another of
yeah.
the discovery for me.
Well, he was a big part in the creation and the writing of the comics as well. So, yeah, I think definitely it would be a go-to. It's on my to-read list as well. Especially after discovering the comics a couple of years ago. But yeah, I still haven't gotten around to reading it yet. But I think if it's half as good as the comics and half as good as anything Keanu Reeves has been in, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Keanu Reeves is the
Okay.
best. Okay, so are you familiar with an old character TV show called Gumby?
Sounds familiar.
He's a little green flexible man and he jumps inside books.
Okay. No.
So the premise behind this question is if you could be like Gumby and jump into any book just for a visit, what book would you jump into?
All right.
You don't have to live there. We're just saying that. Just
Okay, because that would be dangerous. I mean, most of the books that I love are dangerous to live.
Yeah, just a sticky beak, you know.
Well, I would love to see. Let me see which one, because there are a lot. For instance, again, China Miéville. I would love to see the Perdido Street Station world that he created. Just to see it, not to live there. Very clear. Yeah. Also, some of Robert J. Sawyer's books, they're also very interesting, and I would love to see them, close and feel what it is like to be there. For instance, the Neanderthal Parallax series, and The Expanse. The Expanse. I'm coming back to it because I read the books and I loved them.
Yep.
and I would love to see it closer to,
Yeah.
to actually live on some of the stations, space stations, and some of
Yeah.
the even on Mars, and see how it is. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. Okay, next question is, if you could spend the day with any fictional character, who would it be and what would you do?
Fictional character, so not historical one.
Mhm.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, fictional.
Fictional.
So I'm reading now Adrian Tchaikovsky, Children of Memory. And this is part of a series, of a trilogy, where he has, at one point, spiders as a civilization of spiders. And they seem to be really interesting. He has like a female Portia that jumps through the story, and is doing a lot of discoveries and adventures. And I would love to have the opportunity to actually talk to her, because at one point he do it that the humans are living in the same world with the spiders, and they found a way to actually communicate, although spiders don't have vocal cords and they don't speak, and they communicate differently, but they found a way to actually communicate with them. And I would love to experience that kind of feeling, and to actually be able to look into an alien mind, because we know spiders, but if they are intelligent, they are aliens to us.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, no, that's a no for me.
He's arachnophobic.
I'm a severe arachnophobic. I can't even deal with like tiny little spiders. So I think that's the first thing where
they're big.
yeah, no, I'm just saying, yeah. I definitely can't do the big one. So I think that's the first one we're gonna have to disagree on for my own personal fears.
But Ryan, what if they could talk to you?
No, even worse.
And they sounded like John Cena or
even worse. No, I don't care.
What if a spider came around the corner and went like, "Whoa, Ryan, it's me, Keanu."
No, I don't even care what they sound like. I don't care what they look like. I'm not dealing with spiders.
Okay, there you go. There you go. All
right. No.
Okay, so for this next question, I'm going to set the scene. There's a nice warm fire. There's a rug. There's a chair, an empty chair, and it has your favorite book in it. Someone is going to come in and read that book to you. Who is that person? Anyone, living or dead?
Wow. Okay. So I have to say, the first thought was Robert J. Sawyer, because I've been at his book launches, several book launches, and he is a fantastic talker, speaker, and reader. He has a talent for that, to draw in. He has the voice and the rhythm and the tone and everything so I think that the first thing that pops into my mind is the first name is Robert J. Sawyer.
Okay, cool.
And what book would he read to you?
That's difficult. I would be curious to see how he reads Warlords, the Señor de la Guerra, Gerard Klein, the book that it started for me, the whole thing.
No, cool.
Okay,
There you
awesome. All right. Well, next question is, what's a must-read indie book? So something that's not, mainstream, but something that you think that everyone should at least read once.
Right.
And you can't. Everyone's already read your book, so you can't say your book. Because I feel like that's too easy. That's too easy.
Yeah.
to give away. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, my book, but yeah, everyone's already
Yeah.
read it and they love it.
Yeah.
Well, I've read recently several indie authors from Canada, which have lovely books. For instance, Maya Wentz, she has a series with witches in a small North American town with a university and all that stuff, and what happened happens in that town because of the witches. And also Cameron Curry, another indie author, who has a book where he combines everything from space travel to time travel to consciousness. It's a lot of ideas mashed into one story, which is an amazing book. Cameron Curry. Yeah.
That's a good segue into our next one, mashing of ideas, because the next question is if you could combine the works of two different authors, put them together like a crossover, who would you choose?
All right. Well, I think they're very similar in approaching writing books, but they're from different genres. So I think that combining their books would be quite interesting because they have the same depth and breadth of characters and world building and all that stuff. I'm talking about Stephen King and Robert Charles Wilson.
Wow.
Robert Charles Wilson is sci-fi, science fiction. King is horror. So
sci-fi horror.
yeah,
I'm
that would
down
be
for
interesting.
that.
I mean, there's a lot of good
I'm
sci-fi horror anyway.
Yeah, well, I'm a massive excuse me, massive horror guy. So I love all horror, written or or not. But yeah, no, that sounds pretty impressive.
Mm.
Yeah, cool. Take us home with the
Okay,
final one,
next
Ryan.
question. Yeah, so the final question is: you're stranded on a desert island for the rest of your life, and you only had enough time to grab 3 of your favorite books. What are those books?
Right. Just 3. Wow, that's
Just 3.
Top 3.
That's torture for me. I would go with Stephen King. He has I'm trying to remember now the title. Is a book that contains 3 novels in it, not like mini novels, which are like horror with a dash of science fiction. And I think that would be one of the books because it gives a lot of, I mean, there are like 3 novels in one. So that would be
That's cheating.
I see.
cheating sort of way.
No.
Hey, but if it's like if Stephen King,
say you can take 3 books, so
no,
Yeah.
If it's under one cover.
Exactly. And then I would probably take the first Dune. I don't think there are editions that contain more novels into one. I would go for them. I don't think there are, so it would be the first one because that's strong enough to sustain me. And I would go with a China Mayville again. It's probably Perdido Street Station or maybe Kraken. I'm not sure exactly which one. Yeah.
See what happens when the time comes.
excellent.
Cool. No, I like the cheeky getting extra books into one book because there are so many books that have two books in the book, you know. So
Yeah, exactly.
that's a good way to think, you know. I've got Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park and Congo in one book.
In one book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never read Congo, but it's there, you know.
I've read Congo. Yeah.
Cool.
I never read Jurassic Park, but
Oh, you got to read it. That's the first book I ever read.
Yeah.
First book I ever read. And then I didn't read anything for a couple of years until The Lost World came out. And then I read nothing until I was 27.
no, right.
But yeah, cool.
His first book, Andromeda Strain.
Yeah.
Andromeda Strain, yeah.
Yeah.
That was my first book of him.
I think that's on my to be read list because a lot of people have just been talking about it recently. So I'm like, I should definitely check it out. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a blast.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It was indeed marvelous. Yeah.
Cool. Well, guys, all of Costi's links will be in the show notes below. Be sure to check it out. The thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com if you want to reach out. Yeah, all our socials are down below. Check out our sponsors and Rebecca Cassells, Martin Kearns, and we'll catch you next time.
See you next time.